Good morning, everybody. What is up? I am Fire Lotus for the people that do not know. I am Fire Lotus. I do these lives Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also started a new thing where I've also been turning these into a podcast. So if you're listening to this as a podcast, hello, everybody. What is up? I did want to throw this out there. All music heard in the background is no copyright intended. I own none of it. Also, with that, a couple of things that I have to do that I always do on my lives. For one, if you see the logo or the emojis that I use in this title, the wine cup, I'm not drinking wine. I'm drinking coffee. But the stag and the wine glass, male, female, feminine. Okay. Anyways, for anybody who hasn't, if you are curious about astrology, by the way, none of this is paid promotion. I just do these because this app has saved my life. If you haven't already, you should totally, good morning, you should totally check out Astro Matrix, the app. It is in both app stores for Android and Apple. It is free. There is a subscription plan, but it is completely free. You basically go on there. The only thing you will need is the exact time of your birth. You can do it without it, but it's preferred to know the exact time you were born. And the exact location or town or hospital you were born at. You type that in, and it makes a birth chart. And for the people that do not know, or a natal chart, for the people that do not know what that is basically a screenshot of the universe, or of our galaxy, the stars, the system, at the exact moment you were born. Now, what you can learn from that is so much. You can learn major events in your life. You can predict certain things. It breaks down your entire aspect of who you are, emotionally, intelligent-wise, like everything. It breaks it down. But through that and the app in general, what it does is, if you use horoscopes, and some of them match to you, some of them don't. This right here, basically, what I say, it creates your personal horoscope for you. And what that means is all the information you will get from using this app, because it gives you hourly updates of like when the planets move. But you get a number of the day, you get a saying of the day, like a quote of the day. You get information about the moon. You get retrograde information, all of this amazing information, and it breaks everything down. On top of that, there are videos you can look up on YouTube, tutorials of how to do the video. If you do have the app, or if you do download it, I did learn from the creator, who I've talked to and spoken to multiple times. Go into your the setting in the app and make sure your GPS is turned on. And the reason I'm saying that is because with the GPS turned on, it is more accurate with the degrees and stuff of the planets and the moon. So, with that out of the way, I also, for the people that don't know, I've been using this amazing room cleansing spray, it's sage spray, that my amazing friend at 3 Sleeping Eyes Apothecary, you can check her out on Facebook, on Instagram, and she has an Etsy store. Her products are amazing, but she sent me this in a little box. It is Sage Vibrational Charged by the Full Moon Potion. And it is amazing. It honestly smells like you walked into a fairy garden. Like, I opened her package in general, and it literally smelled like I was just transformed into like this earthy and like amazing smelling, earthy, musky, like just pure fairy smell. It was amazing, but y'all should totally check her out. That is 3 Sleepy Eyes Apothecary. But I use this spray before my lives, after my lives, during my rituals, during my magic. So yeah, but today, because for the people that don't know, I will not be doing one tomorrow. And I'm still not for sure if I'm actually going to do one the 25th and the 26th, just due to the simple fact I know there are a lot of people that will be, with family members or other family members or doing other social things. So, but I did also want to personally throw out there, thank you everybody for who joined me and or watched on both platforms, because Saturday, in my opinion, was a complete disaster. I jinxed myself. But thank y'all all for joining me in the Tipsy Witches chat that I had, that I did. And for the people that are listening to this and don't know what I'm talking about, I was having a lot of technical difficulties, and then once I actually got the live and like it was going great on YouTube, it for some reason it crashed, so I had to revert back to using my Facebook. But oh, that was an amazing experience. Again, thank you everybody for tuned in and like chatted and talked amazingly. Also for the people who are listening to this as a podcast, that particular episode you get to experience, and for the people who are viewing this too, you will get to experience a conversation between me and my partner. Like, that's like a normal conversation for us. But yeah. Also, not to mention, the 25th and the 26th, depending on where you are, like if you're in New Jersey, I believe, or in that time zone, you may be able to actually... No, if you're in that time zone, then it actually will fall on Christmas. But if you're not in that time zone or in another part of the world, it will actually fall on the 26th. But there is a solar eclipse. It is the last solar eclipse of the decade. And for the people that have been getting that funky weather and the rain, don't forget, for Yule, no matter how many days you celebrate that, if you collect rainwater, that is the last rainwater of a solstice of the decade. So that right there, and it's so cool because this also shows you how my neighbors, like, gives you a visual of how and why my neighbors think I'm a little crazy. I randomly take dishes that I have outside, like pots and pans and stuff, to collect rainwater, because, you know, that's how I do it, because most of my rainwater, I do not digest it. If you do collect rainwater and you plan on digesting it, there are other steps. Do your research on that. But, so like, on my fire pit, I have this 1/2 cinder block. So I have this giant glass baking pan, Pyrex dish, out there in the pouring rain, and it slightly, like, irked me because I thought we got the blunt of the storm, so, like, everything was, like, kind of clearing up, and it was going to go away, so I was like, alright, perfect, I need to get out there and get that water before it evaporates. Right as I brought it in and poured it in my wine jar that I've been storing rainwater in, all hell broke loose outside. Like, it started raining cats and dogs. And I was like, you know what? I'll take that as, you know, the rainwater that I did collect, because it's not a large amount, but if I do it right, it's the perfect amount. So I think it would go really, really well, or just, like, adding it to small spells, especially because, like I said, it is the last of the decade. Now, for the people that are viewing my podcast, and if you haven't checked out my other videos on YouTube, I highly recommend, or this Facebook page, because you can view all the lives, I highly recommend that. There will be a coming point in time next year where it's going to be a dedication, and I may actually get some people to help, but I'm going to go back and, like, look through all of my videos and make the times, like, take a note of the time frame of some of my great points, and then eventually, one day, I'm either going to make a script, or I'm going to say, thank you so much. Yes, I try to be my true self, and my partner tries to be his true self all the time. I'm very transparent when it comes to, you know, me being on this platform, and that's because I know what it's like when people meet their idols or meet somebody they look up to in real life, and they realize, oh wait, you know, it kind of is like a facade. With me, I am who I am. Like, on or behind the camera, this is me all the day. Now, that's not saying when I meet you in person, if I were to ever meet any of y'all in person, it possibly depends on my anxiety on that one. So, like, I may come off, a lot of the times I've had people tell me that I come off, like, standoffish, or that, like, I'm too good or something. And no, it's not that. It's because inside, like, I'm petulantly, like, in fear. For anybody who's used to work with me, they will tell you when my anxiety, like, or I try to hold my emotions in very well, and I can't. I have one problem, though. My eyes. Hold on really quick. I have to turn my phone on silent. If you hear a dog barking in the background, by the way, for the people on the podcast and just in general, for the people on the podcast, if you hear a dog bark, there's nothing I can do. It's my neighbor's dog. He's a guard dog for their sheep. So, if you hear a cat meow, which you will, that is my familiar licker. He is not in any harm whatsoever. He just can't come in. He just can't come in my craft room. So, I realize that too, that, like, I'm not the only one that does that. But, yeah, so he tends to cry and be a male cat. But, back to what I was saying. I'm going to consolidate all of that into one, that way I can get a lot of my core beliefs and everything across. For the people that are joining this podcast, or here are listening to me, thank you so much. I know there will be lots of improvements, and I just wanted to go ahead and throw this out there. If you listen to my podcast, or if you watch one of these videos, my mind works very rapidly, so I will jump from topic to topic to topic. I do not plan on going towards a script or anything like that, unless it's more historical, like if I dedicate an episode or a video to, like, an entire thing. Excuse me. I may have notes, but other than that, I like to be authentic. This is how I work. For the people who hadn't seen my Facebook, or my personal Facebook, I made a post this morning. Since yesterday, my ears have been ringing, not very loudly. It's been very light, like almost a background. And I made a post, and I was like, okay, so either I'm downloading a major message right now, or I'm about to die, because my ears have been ringing. But I've learned that I've always heard when you start to explore spirituality and when you start to change your perspective and raise your vibrations, or actually work with crystals, this happens a lot with crystals just due to the simple fact they naturally give off vibrations, you start to hear ringing. And the belief behind that is basically the ringing you're hearing, it's other frequencies. Basically, you're changing your body's frequency and vibration, so therefore you're heightening yours, so you're hearing, or the medical, there's a bunch of medical reasons. A lot of people say that when you hear ringing in your ears, that's like the last frequency, that's the last time you'll ever be able to hear that. But I've realized personally since doing these, that when I hear ringing, there's a moment shortly after that of, like, most people would consider it a coincidence or something like that. And if I haven't stated this before, I believe the word coincidence was made up to explain the unexplained. For the people that, like, because, you know, there are some people in our society that no matter what happens to them, no matter what they experience, for some reason they're wired to where they cannot understand or accept that there's a hell of a lot more out there than what's on, you know, what's on paper, what's on black and white. And I'm not gonna lie, I've had moments where, like, I still have moments where, like, I question what I just experienced. And, to quote an amazing witch, an amazing other podcaster and blogger, Southern Fried Witch, Siva, to quote her, slightly quote her, as witches in general, we forget that we are magic. We forget to believe in our own magic. And that's something that I hope that I get across in these videos. And again, you don't have to be a witch or claim to be a witch to do magic. We do magic every single day. It's no longer labeled magic, but it truly is magic. But we lose that awe. I always go back to, when I'm explaining to somebody, I always go back to that moment when you're a kid, that awe moment, that moment where no matter what people tell you, you know it's magic. Like, you just know. We lose that over time as we get older due to the simple fact it mainly depends on the environment you grew up in and the environment around that. But typically, you know, once you start getting like 10, 11, you know, you get more chores in your life, and you get those moments where you get told to snap out of it, get your heads out of the clouds, you know, grow up, stop using your imagination and stuff like that. And what people don't understand is that actually does, spiritually, it hurts us in a way, because that's the first wall and blinder that we put on to that, and we kind of leave it. And a lot of people argue that, you know, that's part of a life, or that's part of our culture and our growth and, you know, those steps that we get to in our lives. But if you look back to ancient teachings and ancient beliefs and still that are practiced till this day, depending on where you are in the world, there are a lot of people that actually will teach to not like tell you to stop using your imagination, but they encourage you to build, to use that imagination. And see, in the Western civilization, I honestly believe that's one of the issues, is we're not teaching our younger generations to use their natural abilities. When I mean that, I don't necessarily mean psychic, but I mean in like artistic skills and music and stuff, that the arts, the stuff that is going to be around no matter what happens to the world or the civilization, unless we all just die. These are going to be things. It's like, if I were to go to college, honestly, in this day and age, I would probably either go in the medical field, the mechanic field, or like a trade, just due to the simple fact, no matter what happens, we're always going to need doctors, we're always going to need medicine, we're going to need mechanics, we're all these people in this huge step where people are like advancing into the coding and stuff like that. They're trying to trench you in time. What they don't realize is we may not always have this technology. All it's going to take is for one thing to hit our electrical grid and something like that to happen. And literally, we've experienced it before. There have been plenty of times in America, where I'm at, so I can speak on that, where there have been cell phone towers go down or something like that, and it's literally like everybody just forgets that we're human. Like, that we're at the top of the food chain because we no longer have these phones. So we don't know how to read maps. We don't know how to get a message to somebody else, without texting, hey, I'm going to be 5 minutes late. And then what's insane, if you actually think about that, are moments when that happened. A lot of the times the people are freaking out, not because they can't, they're all going to be behind time, but a lot of the times they freak out due to the simple fact of this whole like system that we have built to where we have to work on a schedule. We have to do this, we have to do that. If we don't miss that deadline, or if we miss that deadline or that appointment, everything's going to go to a screaming halt. I know growing up when I was a kid, it may just been because I was a kid and I wasn't seeing it in the adult way, but like back in the 90s, we were kind of a little bit more chill. Like, a little bit more, oh, okay, shit, I'm going to be 5 minutes late. Oh, that's fine. That's completely fine. Nowadays, though, oh shit, I'm going to be 5 minutes late. I don't have any service on my phone instead, and that triggers you to go into an anxiety attack. And I can speak this in truth because I've been in situations like that to where I could not communicate. And then, like this past weekend, when we had the severe weather, I started freaking out. And it's moments like that where for some reason something like clicked in my head, and it's like, wait, you're a witch. There's a reason, like, you have to practice and dedicate and do so much research into this is for moments like this. I'm not saying that I'm going to light a candle and my entire house is going to be completely safe and everything like that. But hey, it could. Whether that is magic or whether that is just a complete trick on our mind of like a placebo effect. Because, I've broke magic down like that too. I've done a spell for it to rain, or I've done a protection spell multiple times. I've done spells, and then I've sit down and thought, and I'm like, wait, was this going to happen anyways, or was this the actual spell? And then that, if you have moments like that, it's great, but at the same time, you're breaking everything down. You're breaking everything apart. And what does that do? It's going to cause doubt. It's going to actually, those huge miracle parts, those points in your life that is true magic, it's going to cause them to no longer be magic anymore. And then it's just going to become, it's like when you get the perfect job and that excitement wears off. So, like, you go in 6 months later and you ask the person, how you liking it? And they do like everybody else. They're like, it's a job. And see, that's not me. I'm not that type of person. No. If like, when I used to work, when I could work at a gas station that I worked at, there were moments where, like, we had absolutely nothing to do. And we'd stand around and talk. And see, that drove me crazy because I'm the type of person, if I'm going to work, like, if I'm not going to be at my house, then I want to, like, actually work. I want you to pay me to work. I don't want you to pay me just to sit up here. I can go home and sit home and, like, do other shit. Um, and people, they're just not people like that anymore. And with magic, it's like that too. Um, Here recently, I've seen more people, due to a fact of for a few groups that I'm in, where they automatically go towards magic, or they think one spell is going to change everything, and it could, but at the same time, it can't. And I used to be that person. Like I've stated before, I used to spend hours upon hours trying to find the perfect depression spell. And then I realized that magic doesn't always work that way. Like, yeah, you can do spells, you can have crystals and charms and stuff to help, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to have to do a lot of deep diving into my, like, soul and psyche and everything like that to go over my shadow side to figure out where these are going to come, or where those issues are coming from. And then I'm in the 21st century. We are all in the 21st century, although sometimes I feel like I was born in the wrong century. Depression is a thing. We know that depression and, mental health issues like that, and I hate using that phrase, but mental health issues like that, we know now that, there is a science behind it. There's a medical reason. We may not exactly know exactly why, but we know it's there. 400 years ago, depression or mental illnesses, they were either, a lot of cultures and a lot of people believed that, they were cursed, quote unquote cursed. And then at the same time, on the exact opposite side of that, the exact opposite scale, you have huge cultures that believe that people who did have, again, I hate using these words, but mental health issues, because I don't see it as an issue, but they would see it as, these people are gifted, these people are in touch with God, or the higher ups, and I truly kind of believe that. And then at the same time, I do believe that there's a lot of stuff that goes on in our world that humans themselves created. I was having this conversation with my partner that actually Saturday, that cancer is man-made. Like, it's not a thing that just naturally occurs in nature. And that's, like, really sad. And then, okay, that's what it is. Slight change of subject. I gotta talk about this because I'm befuddled of why there's a media blackout on this. For the people that do not know, Australia right now is completely on fire. And if you do not believe me, go on Twitter, go on Google. I say Twitter because one of the reasons I use the Twitter, besides for my Fire Lotus stuff, is it's a great way of getting stuff and checking the news very fastly. I have realized that. But, I knew that Australia were having bushfires, but the fires they're having right now, they're bigger than the Amazon. They're bigger and worser than California, and I know worser is not a word, but they are literally, they are the worst in human history. In the world history of Australia, they are the worst fires that have been recorded. And yet, no media or mainstream world media is talking about this. Why? Why when Hollywood and California was on fire and like everything was burning over there, that's all you heard people talk about was, oh my god, all the celebrities are freaking out. And I understand that. Like, I'm not saying none of this is something to play with or anything like that, but you have a huge continent completely on fire. Like, if the photo that NASA released is true, they released a global temperature satellite picture that they've taken. Australia is literally, the entire continent is just glowing red. And it's not being talked about. Why? Like, what the fuck is happening to our media outlets to the point that even the fringe media sources that I watch and try to keep up with, they're not even talking about this. Believe it or not, one of the only reasons I found out about it is some of the other spiritual Facebook pages or witchy, witchcraft, pagan, open-minded, stuff like that, the pages that I follow, they're the reason that I've been finding a lot of the information that I've been finding out about, because nobody's talking about it. And I want to know why. We are about to, literally, we are less than, I think, 2 weeks, a week away from being in 2020. Oh my god, we're almost 2 weeks to be, holy shit, that just dawned on me. But, literally a week, roughly a week and a couple of days, that we're going to be, that is left, and then we'll be in 2020. And nobody's talking about, hey, Australia's on fire. What are ways that we can invest? Like, isn't there like some weird World Council thing that's supposed to come together when shit like this happens? Where are they at? Thornburg, whatever her name is, Greta. Why is she not talking about Australia being on fire? Do they not realize that with all this stuff burning down, what this fire released into our atmosphere? Smoke. What does smoke do? It can block out the sun, not to mention it can put a bunch of other toxic shit into our environment. It's heating up the atmosphere. Shall I go on? But is anybody talking about Australia being on fire? No! Nobody is! Why? Why? Why are none of our media, like, nobody, except for people on Twitter, the people that are living in Australia, they're the people that are talking about it. And I want to know, like, why? What the fuck? And with all our social media, you would think that, you know, all these people are on social media. What? You know, and when I mean all these people, I'm talking about the actors, all these musicians that here in the United States and worldwide that we put on a pedestal. As far as I know, I haven't seen any. Why is nobody talking about this? Why are there not people that has a way bigger microphone? Why have they not stepped up and like, yo, down here, down under is completely in flames. Hell has been unleashed on down under. Why is nobody talking about this? Why is a guy in Florida talking about Australia being on fire? Why? Because no fucking other social media platform is. No media is actually really talking about it. But when there was a koala that was saved from these bushfires, and then it died, the entire fucking world was talking about that. But are they talking about this now? Are they talking about how the fires have gotten extremely worse in Australia? And literally they are having apocalyptical, like, world scenario ending issues with the fires that they're having in Australia. Nobody's talking about them. Why? True enough, there's not really much I can do except for do what I'm doing now, which is telling you, and hopefully it'll get you to go look, and then you'll talk, and then other people will see it, and other people will see it, and hopefully we can get something done. But I also feel like it's better than the whole, and I used to share this stuff too, and then I realized it shows the support, but that's it. The whole pray for you. No, don't pray. What have we realized, and what have we learned in history? What gets shit done in a non-violent way? You don't shut up about it. That is how you get people's attention. You keep talking and talking and talking. Example, the Epson thing. Epson didn't kill himself. Do you know I was so annoyed with the whole memes that were going around where it got to the point where I was finding this incredible information, and then right at the end of that, it's like, oh, by the way, Epson didn't kill himself. And look what happened. Sonic the Hedgehog movie, for example, when that first dropped, when the first trailer of that dropped, everybody lost their shit to the point where they went back and scrapped the entire fucking movie and redid it from the ground up. If we can do shit like that just due to the simple fact, due to social media, and like I've been saying, we won't shut up about it, then that is how we will start getting shit done. We will talk, and we will talk, and we will scream, and we will, I'm not going to say rally. We will get our point across because we won't shut up about it. And eventually people are going to get tired of hearing it and hopefully do something. Although when it comes to the Australia fires, you know, you can't really just keep talking and talking about it. You do have to eventually do something. By the way, I'm sharing this stuff in, you know, trying to get my name out there, my world out there, these videos out there. So yeah. But it's just so insane to me though that like there's a lot of shit that's happening in the world and nobody's talking about it. But you know what they are talking about here in America, which is the one thing I'm not going to talk about? The whole bullshit that's going on in Washington right now. That's all you're hearing about. Or all these other fucking celebrities. Yeah, great. We get entertainment, more things to distract us. When it comes to artists, though, we do get art and music. And I understand that it is an art of acting and stuff like that. But when will fucking people wake up and realize that Hollywood right now is technically being used against us? Because what? Netflix, all these streaming platforms. Like, come on. Do we not remember that weird stage in the 2000s where, like, even the Disney may have done it. I think they did it. Yeah, they did do it. Nickelodeon. Remember when they had, during the summertime, Nickelodeon had one day where it would completely take itself off the air just so people would get the hell out and start going outside and exercising. Kids would be kids. And then Disney, they had the yearly, like, major event where all the Disney kids would get together and, like, basically it was like a giant field day Disney version. They, as far as I know, they no longer do that anymore. But yet, what is Disney doing? It just came out with the #1 top streaming fucking service ever. What is that doing? And it's specifically, they even did this because there's an issue because due to the simple fact that Fox is now owned by Disney, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The reason no news has dropped about the remake and the new show that they're bringing back is because right now, due to that switch up, they don't know what to do with it. Because Disney platform, or Disney Plus, is literally designed for kids. And adults, but for kids. Like, there's an age range that is developed, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer doesn't fit into that. Technically, how Star Wars fits into that, I don't really know, but, you know, whatever. And due to that, they don't know what they're going to do with the show. Because they don't know how to air it, or where to air it. But it's issues like this. Like, you have Disney World. Yeah, that kind of gets, well, due to all the walking, it gets people active. But we're literally moving and shifting into WALL-E. And I don't understand it. I don't. And it's extremely frustrating to be here and realize, like, here in the last month, I've had so many times where, like, I've stopped and kind of viewed the world that I have around me, like, the people and everything around me, and I'm like, what? Why? Liquor, you're okay. I don't know if he has anxiety or if he's just doing his male cat thing. But let me get him, because it's slightly annoying. Hold on. So sorry. How did you even get in here? Like, how did you even get in there? Okay, sorry about that. Somehow my cat got in a bathroom with a closed and locked door. How that is, I don't know. Excuse me, I would like to say I have more things. He's still not gonna stop. He's gonna drive me crazy. But, like, it's very frustrating because there have been a lot of moments here recently, and I don't know what to do with it, where, like, I've literally stopped, and I'm like, it's like a lot of the people that I had in my life, or that are in my life, it's just like, I don't know how to communicate with them anymore, because it's just like, I don't know how to say this without it coming off as, it's going to sound snobby and, like, full of myself, but it's like, I can no longer resonate with them anymore. Like, I don't even like having conversations because it's just like we're completely drifted, like, And I'm just like, there are like so many people, there's so many things in this world right now that it's infuriating me because the people are not, they're just being blind to it. They're okay with being distracted by it, and that's what's driving me insane. And it's annoying, but these right here are definitely helping because I'm realizing that there are a lot of people, and actually listening to the podcast that I've been listening to, I've always stated in my other lives, my previous ones, my earlier ones, that I've stated that, like, I was so afraid of being put out there because it's like, I'm afraid that, like, I'm so abstract at thinking. Come to find out, I am abstract, but there's a lot of other practitioners that are doing the exact same thing I'm doing. And the beliefs, like, they're throwing away everything that we were taught for generations when it comes to witchcraft and stuff. Kind of grouped everybody together, but the teachings and stuff, and we're kind of straying away from that, and we're like, wait, it doesn't have to be this way. We can do it this way, and it works perfectly. For a while there, it was like the world itself forgot that witchcraft didn't have to be, well, a religion. It got turned into a religion, but true witchcraft was never meant to be a religion. And that got me thinking. It was a conversation too. It's kind of an issue that I'm having, and it's so weird because I've heard people talk about it. Southern Fried Witch, Seba, her blog and podcast, she's an amazing witch. She lives in Alabama, and she's from Alabama, which is where I discovered her. But she was talking about how she'd been to other places throughout the world, or throughout the United States, and, like, there was something about the Alabama land. And, like, I'd always heard it before. Like, the place that you're originally from, there's just something about it that you didn't understand. And it never clicked with me until actually, I think this weekend I was having a conversation with my partner about the old haunted property that we used to live on. And for one, holy shit, major discovery in that. When it comes to the land here in Florida, due to the simple fact that a lot of it is aquifer, that kind of got me thinking that technically Florida, or the land here in Florida, would in a way naturally be charged due to the fact that it has water running throughout it. Spiritually, at least, that would, like, complete, because a lot of people believe that spirit or running water, it can have magical abilities. And these are also natural springs. So, like, I thought about it, and I'm like, wait, on top of that, it's lime rock. For the people that don't know about lime rock can restore and replay energy. Scientifically, too, but, supernatural or metaphysically, it can also store energy and kind of, like, for example, if you've ever been to a haunted place where, like, the haunting, it's just, like, people are reliving events over and over again, like The Haunting is, in a way, it would be like a huge, explosion or a giant car crash or something like that, a war or something. In one moment that it all kind of just exploded into utter chaos, that one explosion, that first initial explosion, it could have, like, that initial release of that energy, it stores itself in this, the sand rock, lime rock, and then it kind of, like, throughout, over time, it kind of just randomly gets released. Hold on. I swear I'm gonna have to, like, distract him. Now don't go knocking stuff down and, like, you know, doing stuff you're not supposed to do. Sorry about that. Yeah, hi. Say hey to everybody. Say hi. This is Liquor, everybody. Sorry for the people on podcast who can't see the cat. But, I think that's one of my issues is I'm having a hard time connecting to the land here in Florida. And it's so weird because I never thought I'd have an issue like that. But it's literally like I can connect with the property. I can connect with some of the things on the land, but fully connecting to it, I can't. And now that I've realized it and it's, like, been highlighted in my brain, I can't, like, I'm trying to figure out how, and I think one of the issues is there's a lot of Native American land over here, and I haven't really, I want to do more research on the Native Americans that were here, That way I know how to give them the right offerings and stuff. But I want to know if y'all have experienced the same thing of where, like, it's very hard to connect to that land that you're not on, or that you were not born on. It's very weird because, like, as much as I can't stand Alabama sometimes, sorry, but no. Alabama's not for me. Apparently it is, though, because I keep getting called. Hold on, I'm going to have to put him back out there because he's not stopping and he almost knocked over the table. So hold on. There we go. He ran back up front. But, so yeah, but the property on Archer Road, it's one of the first properties, and that's all I'm going to say is the road. It's currently still vacant, which is very weird because, I know somebody who lives close to it, and the people who have owned it, they have had, or there, at least 2 times there was a camper that was on the property, and, like, they only were there for, like, a day or 2, and they left. And, like, there were a lot of plans that we knew that were supposed to happen on this property, and since we moved, it hasn't happened. That's because there's something on that property. I don't know what the hell is on that property, but it's definitely there. And the property, when I first got there, take in mind, I'm the only practitioner that I'm aware of that has lived on that property. And my partner's family and them, they lived on it for like 12 years when we moved. But as soon as I got there in the backyard, I connected to my thing where I connected. And it was literally like the land itself was pulsating. Like it had its own pulse. And I've experienced something like that, but it was always on like other people's lands or something to where something huge had happened there, or there were practitioners that had been there for years and like had practiced it and like in a way kind of concentrated that land. But this land, it literally pulsated and pulsated. That's the first time me and 2 other people, my partner being one of them and a very good friend, in not broad daylight because it wasn't daylight, it was dark, but we saw a giant, they saw something and I saw something at the exact same time in the exact same place, but it was completely different. I have a video up on that on my YouTube of that story. Hold on, I have to quiet this cat before, my neighbors come knocking on my door. Will you please stop and go play? You have food in there, go eat. Go eat, buddy. Go eat. Okay, I'm back. Until he comes running in here. He's becoming a man. We'll put it that way. So I think that's what's going on. But that land was always naturally charged. And I've been to one other place here in Florida that had that just natural charge to it. And I'd not really gotten those experiences. There was one other place that was incredible experience. I went to a Maybon festival up in the Appalachian Mountains. Actually, it was Mount Cheehaw. I didn't participate in the group circle that they had and ritual that they had for Maybon, but I was on the outskirts of it. And let me tell you, those mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, they definitely got some energy to them. Natural energy and then also Native American energy, of course. And now when it comes to Native American spirits, for anyone who don't know, if you believe that there were Native Americans on your property or your land, if you burn dragon's blood, primarily sweetgrass should be burned next, but another sweet herb needs to be burned after that because to Native Americans, dragon's blood was very harsh. So it would appease them better if you were to burn something sweet, or tobacco, example, after you have burned the dragon's blood. I did not know that. I recently learned that, though. So, yeah, like I'm having trouble connecting with the land that I'm living on. And it could also be that it's just it. I've never lived on like property before, so I'm not used to being so close to a giant, body of natural spring water because it's a natural spring fed lake. So it could be that I have connected with the trees here. For the people that don't know, the trees recently like saved my life. We had a huge storm system and what I believe was a tornado trying to develop, but it did a lot of damage to all of our neighbors and our property. But every single branch and everything that was ripped from those trees fell directly beside our house. Like, not on it, except for one branch from our neighbor's property. But we were truly blessed that night. And it's so insane because the one tree that got damaged the most on our property was the tree that I give my offerings to and I work with and I connect to, and it was damaged the most. So like in my head, it like sacrificed itself, protecting me and protecting my house and my family, and my partner and my kitties, because I have kitties outside too. But and see what I mean by connecting and stuff. You don't have to see spirits. You don't truly have to truly be able to sense them just yet if you just want to give them an offering. And literally, I used to give them my leftover scraps. I would just say I would walk outside and find a tree or find a bush or next to the woods and say, go back to the earth of which that came, because I was done with what I needed from it, and most of it biodegradable as food and stuff. So just, and say, I'm giving this back to the land. That right there in itself can be a very good start to starting off or starting up that communication with the spirits of the land. Now, if you believe you have fae or stuff like that, if you have fae on your property, just be very careful with iron and be very careful with chocolate. Do not offer chocolate to fae. They do not like it. It is an insult. Butter and honey, which I'm not going too much into fae because I only know some things. But, yeah, they definitely do not like iron. And if you piss them off, you'll know. Trust me. You'll start having things go missing or not in the place that they were 5 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago. So, trust me, you will know definitely on that. But, and then eventually, you will get to that point. Because I'm clairvoyant and I have clairvoyance, I have clairaudience, a little bit of clairsentience. But yeah, when I first connected to my tree, the tree outside the oak tree, like it was a connection. It was something I'd never experienced, and I've experienced multiple things throughout my years of practicing, but I'd never experienced that type of connection. And ever since then, I was always connected to it. I have 2 little shot glasses that I will give liquid offerings to, and then I have 2 little plates out there to where either I will personally make something, or if I'm making like pancakes or something, I will personally save some, add some stuff to it, and personally cook it to go out there and give to the nature. I also connect trees with ancestry, so that is a very good way to connect spiritually. But it's so weird though, because yeah, so much stuff has happened on this property. Nothing like Archer Road now, take in mind. Nothing like that. I have had moments. But I've also realized, too, that if you are a spiritual person, I have one tree in my yard that when I get upset with too much energy, that will help me release my energy into the ground. Yes, that is very good. Yes, thank you for actually saying that and sharing that. That's also a perfect thing, too. That's actually great advice as well. You can use trees to help release energy that is too much, or emotions that are too much from you, because what do? Their root systems go deep into the earth. What does, in the craft, in witchcraft, what do they teach you when you're grounding and releasing stuff? You send it back into the earth because the earth recycles it. If you have anger issues, like I used to when I was a kid, and teenager, and I still do, but I have way better control over them. But when I was like that, for some reason, I would always go. Almost every property that I've ever lived on, since I answered the calling to the to witchcraft, I have always had an oak tree. It's always been oak too. Maybe once or twice a pecan tree. But it's always been an oak tree, and especially in moments of just, chaos with my anger and teenage and puberty and all that stuff, I would always go to these oak trees and I would just sit there and be like, please just take this from me. Like, I need to get these emotions and this energy out, but I don't want to harm anything. I don't want to hurt the environment. I don't want to hurt the tree. I just need to get it out. And it would help. I would also burn incense. Incense can representation, the smoke carrying those thoughts or those negativities away. And again, like I've stated before, when it comes to the craft, you don't need all these tools. But what the tools are, there are ways to help you hone in not only your imagination in a way to direct that and your visualization, but it's also to help actually direct and help your body direct energy. Because what I've learned is after you do it more and more, it's like jumping a rope, jump roping. Once or twice, the first initial times, it's going to be a little tricky, but eventually your body gets to a point to where you can pick it up 10 years later and do the exact same thing. It's like that, but you do have to use it. I mean, you will get to a point to where you'll just manifest things like I have. I don't necessarily have to go through all the steps of doing a circle and, setting the altar and all the other stuff. There are some things that just I can want or talk about and they manifest. And then there are other things where I will, throw some crystals, throw some herbs, some candles, and all the other works that I go through, and bam, I create stuff. But a lot of my magic and a lot of the things that I do or manifest in my life have just naturally came to me. And no, I'm not saying I'm special. I'm actually saying that what I'm teaching or what I've been trying to get out there is anybody can do it. Everybody can do it. You just have to wake up and you have to listen to your natural voice. But I'm telling you, once you do, things will start coming in and you're like, holy shit. And, there are other things. And of course, there are going to be things that some people are more in tune to than others, but at the same time, vice versa. But the number one thing that I can tell you, if you were new or if you're beginning, stay away from Instagram, stay off social media when it comes to holidays, when it comes to Halloween, stuff like that, because you cannot compare your magic or your craft or your witchcraft to somebody else's craft, because unless you were strictly following in honestly, no. Even if you were strictly following a certain path, unless otherwise stated that, everything has to be the exact replica of everything else. Yeah, see, exactly. I've always, one of my people, I'm saying this for the podcast, but, I've always just used my mind up until now, and I'm trying to learn. So see, me and you, we work that differently then. And that's actually really cool, is because I initially started using the tools. I mean, true enough, if I think hard enough before I even got the tools and everything like that, we all use our minds and we manifest stuff. But yes, it's very weird because I have tools. Like, I have a wand that my partner made. I just have recently this year got a sword athame, or a sword, not an athame, an actual sword. And I use them sometimes, but I don't now. It's very weird because when I was younger and starting the craft, I thought, and I would do, like, if I was just doing a simple, what I'd call now a candle spell, before I would go outside and literally I would do the whole circle, the whole 9 yards to do this one simple thing. And that's because I thought I had to. I thought that's the only way you could do magic. And then I realized, wait, no. But, for certain things, there's certain, it just depends on me, I guess. I have this magic thing. There's no term for it, but magic mood, I guess. I don't know. I get this weird, I'll have these random moments where, like, I'll start tingling. I'll have tingling in my fingers. By the way, that's my cat going crazy in my room. Familiar. Where did you go? Oh, you're right beside me. Hi, calm down, little one. Calm down. But, I've realized that, you know, if you can't get all of this stuff, you can do magic without having all of this stuff. Honestly, a lot of the things we have in our household, you can use for magic. And then not to mention some of the most... And honestly, I've also realized that all the times that I've done magic step by step, went out, did the whole pentagram, circle, in my time I had to do it that way because the world had been witch hunt, but now... Yeah, see, same too. Well, kind of. I was raised differently than a lot of people. My mom... told me when I turned 13, she's like, you know, you were raised this way, but if you know, you're old enough to realize that there are other things out there, so if you're drawn to it, it's fine. Now, true enough, like, especially when I moved in with, who my mom is with now, my stepfather, he's Pentecostal, and his father is a retired Pentecostal preacher now. So... yeah, and I was out of the broom closet. I was out of the broom closet when I first moved in, but I was not out of the closet yet. So, that family got 2 surprises. But, I realized though, like, the times that I have those moments where my fingers start tingling, and I will just drop everything I'm doing if I'm at my house, and I will go back to this craft room, and I will get my magic stuff, and I will, you know, 20, 30 minutes, an hour, 3 hours later, depending on what it is, I will create something. And I've learned that as long as I let that cycle happen, that's some of the purest magic. That's some of the stuff that goes, and it happens. And then, you know, I have moments now in my craft where, like, I can light a candle and visualize it or just stare at it, and that's my magic. It just depends. But I also realize the most important thing is that's okay. But now I do have to stress this. When it comes to, for the newer people, for the sprouts as I call them, the number one thing that you need to, depending on what part of witchcraft you're called to, and I know there's a lot out there, trust me, I know, there wasn't even this much stuff, there wasn't even this much information in books that you could get your hands on, even when I started practicing, but my go-tos, not even book-wise, things you should try to start learning, how energy is, how it feels, how each individual element feels. And I'm telling you now, what I've learned from experience, you're not going to be able to ask a person if this is right, because people interpret energy completely different. It is only something that you will know, but let me tell you, you will know when you make that connection, when you feel it. And how energy works. Now, if you're just doing like I would do, like magic and witchcraft without spirits or ancestors or gods and goddesses, then learn the correspondences, learn how that energy feels with those, and then that. But if you're going to practice, or if you're trying to practice, or if you're new and, like, you want to, I don't know, for some fucking reason, summon a demon or summon an angel. Angels can be very tricky. Or angelic magic can be very tricky. But don't go deep diving into very, very old, very, very real stuff and writing that on a piece of paper or trying to do that. Because if you don't know what you're doing when it comes to stuff like that, you can really, truly, like, mess stuff up. Now I'm not saying you're going to have, like, this demon pop through your floor and, like, rip everything apart. But you can invite things into your life that will basically, you know, they have an entity of themselves. It's not like when you think of summoning stuff, if you have it in your head where it's just like they're in this box until you summon them, motherfucker, you got it wrong. You have it wrong. These things, these certain types of entities, these energies have been worshipped so much throughout our history that it does come into time and a point to where they themselves literally become, in a way, self-aware, and they're like, oh, wait, I can do this. So always remember that. Never go into something like that thinking you have the upper hand because you did this sigil that's supposed to control them and keep them and, bend them to your will. No. Stay away from that shit. There's stuff that I won't even fuck with because I don't know and truly understand it. I'll research it. I've researched a lot of the stuff in dark craft, all types of stuff. But that's only because if I know how and understand how it works, I have a better way of protecting myself or defending it or counter-predicting it. And just, Hollywood, I hate this because Hollywood has drove me so crazy with it. Some of the stuff you see, on Supernatural and other occult TV shows and fantasy shows and stuff, some of the symbols and shit are legit real. And it's like, and I hate to primarily do this one thing, but I am anyways, it's like a cross to Christians. A cross in general, the reason them holding it up during an exorcism in front of a demon and he has a reaction, it's not necessarily just that one priest's belief in his faith. That in itself, that one symbol has so much power behind it because it has so many people that wear it, that have not worshipped it, but they use it or call upon it in times of need. So that symbol in itself has its power, has its own power outside of that. These symbols and sigils and sigils and runes, they all also have that special power. So, and again, a lot of people argue, well, it's all about intent. It is when you're creating it. But if it's something, if it is deemed in history as an occult item, like something that falls under the lines of old school shit, be fucking respectful. And what I mean by that is, yes, I am one of those people that do believe that you can have different pantheons, possibly, in the same sacred space. Possibly. But that doesn't mean that you can summon an angel and summon a demon in the same space and think that's okay, because that's not. That goes against that own spiritual, religious path itself. That goes against that thing. So, and again, these videos are not to, change people, and these podcasts, my content is not to change your mind. It's not to convert you. It is just educational. It's me bouncing ideas and thoughts and philosophies and all other religious stuff and supernatural and basically everything under the moon except for politics. Okay, not everything under the moon. Y'all understand what I'm saying. There was a documentary that I watched where, and I don't know if it was real or not, but it's one of the most creepiest things I think I've ever heard, too. It is the Lord's Prayer played backwards. No. See, it's very weird because I was born Southern Baptist. I was raised Southern Baptist. And for the people that hear this on a podcast or see this and have never heard it, I am from Alabama. Do not let how I talk now fool you. I have a very, 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 very thick, very, 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 very Southern accent. I've just learned to hide it. And I've actually come to a recent point in my life where I hate the fact that I hide it so well. I actually miss my Southern accent. And it'll eventually come out in some of these. But, I'm having I'm having issues when it comes to, there's a prayer and a ritual. Hello! There's a prayer and or a ritual that I've shared that another witch or creator has done. It's the St. Michael one. It's the 7-day miracle one. And I'm not going to mention the person for other reasons. But, and I had this conversation with other people before. I personally have not done my own individual research onto this and where they fall into witchcraft or the occult, so I do need to go do that. But to me and how I was raised, I always identify angels with Christianity. I know that may not be 100% true, but how I was raised and everything, it is. And mixing them, I don't know how I feel about that. And then when I actually discovered witchcraft and realized angelic magic is a thing, I learned that some people view angelic beings as, in a way, like fae. They're tricksters. They can be very tricky and very shifty. But like, it's like when people say, oh, you're a witch, you worship Satan, or you work with Satan. The concept of Satan that they're talking about is a Christian concept, which means before Christianity, that specific concept of Satan didn't exist. So therefore, how can you see what I mean? And that's why, like, demon. I understand the word demon doesn't automatically associate with Christianity or the church, but due to Hollywood, especially here in the Western culture, people automatically think that. And I've met things that I would consider a demon, but not in a negative way or anything like that. I just say it's very, very old. There are things that you will come across, or there are things that will come across you, especially if you practice your craft outdoors. You have to realize that you may not see everything that is going on outside of us, but I believe that they can always see us. Spiritual beings and spiritual entities and elementals and stuff, I believe that we are always visible to them, but they're not always visible to us. So, in a way, whatever movie you've seen where there's a, like, ghost world and our world living coexistently side by side, imagine that. So, like, imagine when you're doing your circle, all of a sudden, foof, like these lights and everything and this dancing energy starts happening. So, of course, if, anything's, like, walking around you and this appears out of nowhere, wouldn't you be curious? I would. I would be like, oh, let's go check this out. Let's see what they at. So, in a way, there's a thought in my head. It was like, wow, that's kind of like we put on plays. And that kind of makes sense in the theatrical witchcraft path, which there is one where there are plays and rituals and stuff like that, to where the entire ritual is actually you in full-on, costume, acting out, for Yule, for example, it'd be acting out the, I think it's the death of the rebirth of the sun, or it's marking the time of where the sun's about to be rebirthed. But see, at the same time, when it comes to Wicca and when it comes to these holidays, the Wiccan holidays, are not Wiccan holidays, the pagan holidays, the New Age holidays, however you want to word that, the solstices and stuff, there are some of them that I can't connect to, no matter how hard I've tried. I can't. And it could be because I've never full-on experienced their festival and celebration in a group atmosphere. Or it could just be the fact that, for some reason I don't. Like Yule. I associate with Yule. And I connect with it. But I've never dedicated to a point to where, like, I've completely, like, done everything in my house Yule. Halloween, though? Let me tell you. Samhain? Oh, hell yeah. I love decorating Samhain. There's the summer solstice I do like. The harvest I love. Mabon. One or two spring ones. I don't know. See, it's changing. So here recently, I've planned on. I want to explore in other traditions that would be considered holidays in some cultures that maybe have been forgotten. And just either that or come up with my own damn holiday. Like Thanksgiving, I call it Grateful Day. Because to me, it's not about giving thanks for what you have. It's about being grateful for what you have. And not what what fucking the Western world, I'm assuming is the Western world. I don't know about the other side. But the whole Black Friday, which for some reason, it's went from being Black Friday to basically Black Thursday because all the sales happened before that. And that just, it irritates me that, like, it is a country celebrated thing to where we sit down at the table and give thanks for all we have just to turn around 5 to 10 minutes to an hour later and, possibly beat the hell out of somebody over a Tickle Me Elmo doll. The fuck? Why can't it be, instead of Black Friday where we go out and sell, why can't it be that it's a tradition that after Thanksgiving, all your leftovers, instead of keeping them and eating them, you all come together as a community at a community shelter and feed everybody in your community that didn't have that? Why is that not a thing? For Christmas or Yule, for example, instead of exchanging family gifts and, spending $1,000 on your family to show them that you love them, why not go buy toys for the people that don't have anything? Or, do stuff like that. Like, why not celebrate? Why not bring people in that don't have anybody or don't have a family to celebrate? Why not bring them in during Yule or during your holiday festivals and just celebrating with them, sharing your food with them? Why aren't we doing these things? Instead, we're making the rich more richer by going and buying more stuff and capital, all other stuff. No. I did want to say, though, the holidays have messed how I normally do these up. I'm supposed to be, which I will be doing today, I will be going over the Spirit of the Will meditational deck, the second card, technically the third card, because this deck actually starts off with 0, and then 1, and then 2, and then 3. And I believe Friday or Saturday, possibly, I did the first 2. So, I'm going to go over that one later on, a little bit later on. I'm almost out of coffee, too. But, for the people that do not know, I will be bringing in people in the next coming month and few months to be interviewing them. Some of them are shop owners, small business owners. The majority of them are practitioners of just different types. One of them lives in the UK. So, and then I have loads more of other plans to start bringing people in and interviewing them. I am going to do some test runs of this to see how it goes. But yeah, and I'm hoping after the holiday season I can get back to my natural regular groove of how things were going in these lives and now podcast. But yeah, and tomorrow though I will not be doing one. And I don't know about the 25th and the 26th, but tomorrow in general I will not. Tomorrow is a dear friend who passed away earlier this year. It is his birthday. So I will not be doing one. I will not even be on social media tomorrow. Or if I do, it won't be much. I will be celebrating his life and celebrating everything like that. And then I don't know about the 25th and the 26th due to the simple fact I know other people are celebrating. So I don't know about that. But I did want to say, if y'all are viewing this or if you hear this on any of my platforms, I am doing the New Year's send-off ritual thing that I do almost every year. And if you want to participate in that in a very short way, aka not a paragraph, because I will be copying it, or key phrases in it, and putting your name on a piece of paper, and that will be, well, I'm not going to tell you the process, but basically what I will be doing is all the names and stuff that if you want to basically send me a message, make a comment, preferably a message, that you would like to participate, and if you can, try to consolidate it down to a list of words that you want to help be brought into your life in 2020. I will be, preferably, I would love to have all of this by the 25th and the 26th, that way I can actually do the major part of this during the eclipse, and I can harness that energy, and then that will be formed into a candle, and then all of that stuff will be formed into a candle, and then that candle will be burned on New Year's Eve, and then on New Year's Day. So, yeah, if you want to be, message my page, message my Instagram account, whatever you see this on, find a way to comment or message. If you do comment, just comment, me, and I'll try to message you. If you feel comfortable, comment all the things that you want, the little words that you want and things to manifest in your life. That way I can make a list of it and do this. It's free. It's community. I want to help as many people as I can out because y'all are helping me. And if you do listen to this podcast or if you see this on YouTube, the only thing that I ask from all of my viewers, if you do resonate with what I say and how I talk and everything like that and what I am and what Fire Lotus is, then please, all I ask is to share, subscribe, like, you don't have to comment, but share, just get the word out there. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, because this is to help everybody. Any books, any new things that I get into the craft, as much as I learn from them, I will be expressing them doing these videos and these podcasts. So yeah, there's a lot of things. I will be working on some more tutorial videos and how I do personal things. And then sometime in January, I will still be going, and for the people on the podcast, I forgot to bring this up, which I don't know if y'all can, but I will be picking a day in January to where I'll be doing a live witch's jar. So basically what that's going to assist of is I'm going to make a list of things, or create a list of things, of ingredients that you can get and that you do not have to, you're not going to have to spend like $20. You may not even have to spend anything, but if you do, it'll only be like $1 or $2. I'm going to try to get things that can be found in the house, but with these, you'll either be able to do a witch's jar for protection, prosperity, wealth, luck, money, stuff like that. I'm going to post a list to make sure everybody has enough time to collect them, and then during the live, I will be putting mine together while teaching y'all, and y'all can also be putting y'all's together so we can all participate. And then eventually, I would love to do like candle spells. So when we do when I do my lives, and or when I post these podcasts, during the podcast or however, when you hear it or this comes to you, we'll light a candle. And that candle would be charged with one meaning of these. So see what I mean? And we'll be doing it at the exact same time. So it's literally like we're all linking the spells and energy up together, because all the candles will be lit at the exact same times and burned doing the exact same things and charged the exact same way. So see what I'm saying? So literally when I want to create a community like this, and through these platforms that I'm using, which are almost all of them, as many as I can, and one person doing it all, I would love to get us closer. So like if anybody chats or talks in the comments or anything like that, feel free to like become friends too, like outside of this. But I do want to create a close woven community, not a coven necessarily or a covenant, but an actual community to where there will be things that, eventually, hopefully, I'll eventually go to public things, and then possibly go from there and just on to, maybe I'll have other groups that are tied in with the Fire Lotus page, but like of different states and like so on and so on. But that is the point of these, is to wake up, get my name out there, and well, I have a purpose, and so far my purpose in my life is to make these videos, and I've been connecting with people. I think it was this past Saturday or Sunday, I woke up to a message from a fan that, wow, like it just completely stopped me in the best way possible, and I was like, wow, this is why I do these videos. This is why I make the content that I make. This is the reason I found my path in the craft. This is the reason that, like, all the events in my life, they've led to this right here. And where these are going to go, I don't know. But considering I've only been doing these since mid-October of this year, and then I've been doing the YouTube. Now, I have been on my Fire Lotus YouTube page a year now. But all of this has just exploded since October. So if we've come this far now, just think of where we're going to be a year from now. So yes, I am going to cut this a little short because I do have some other things that I have to do. But yeah, thank you everybody who has viewed this, who stopped by and viewed this. Thank you everybody who is listening as on the podcast version of this and on YouTube. What? Hello. But yes, without further ado, by the way, I did want to make that announcement. If you watch these on YouTube, I will be uploading-wise postponing the uploads basically until Saturday. Now that may change, but a podcast version of every live that I do here on Facebook will be uploaded within 12 to 24 hours after this live. So, and then also you can always come to the Facebook page because all of these lives, I believe except for 2 of them, are always up. So, with that being said, and without further ado, for one, happy seasons, happy holidays, happy whatever you're celebrating today, blessed whatever you're celebrating today, and yeah, if I don't do any of these until, like, because I do want to do these, I will probably, if I do not do it on the 25th and the 26th, I may start back that Friday on the 27th, or I just may take this entire week off until the 30th, and then I may come back the 30th, and we'll do this into the freaking New Year, people. What? I don't know if I'm going to do anything on New Year's Eve, because I know a bunch of other people are going to be doing a lot of other family stuff. I want to, but I may be holding something here at my house. I'm not for sure. I'm running out of time, though, to plan this. But, with that being said, thank y'all so much. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And just thank you. And I hope y'all all have a magical morning, noon, or night, because I don't know your life. I don't know if you're coming home, going to work, going to school. I don't know. But I hope you all have a magical, fantastical week. And I hope y'all have amazing holidays and seasons. Until then, Fire Lotus out. Peace.